Hi everyone, I'm Rick Beato. My assistant Ken has been working on a project for the past couple months where he's been profiling all of the amplifiers that I have behind me. He has a Kemper profiling amp, and so we decided to work together on it to create all the sounds that you hear in the videos that I've been putting out over the last 2 years. We're going to show the process for profiling using the Kemper, and we're going to have these profiles available for sale on flat5.com. Let's get started.
Well, we've had all these amps for years and years. It started out where when we started working together in, 2000 really. Rick would buy an amp, and then we would record that amp for a little bit, and you know, the way Rick is, he would get tired of it, so he'd want to try another amp. He'd want to get another amp in there, so he would sell that one and get another amp. But it eventually got to the point where he started liking a lot of the amps that we were using, so he didn't need to turn them over anymore.
Mind you, I've gone through probably 150 amps
Yes.
or something like that.
So many different amps. So the amps that we have now are basically the amps that we needed for production. I mean, these are everything that we have here has been hand selected. We know it sounds good underneath the microphones. It sounds great. These are the keepers for us.
Now, these aren't all the amps we have in the studios. These are just the ones that would fit in the picture. We also have, 10 412 cabinets, and you see we have 212 cabinets. We have the Sound City has its own cabinet, and when we've profiled these, we've profiled them through multiple cabinets.
The point of it was that we wanted to capture, or at least I started a few years ago when I got my Kemper unit. I always wanted to have a copy of a lot of these sounds that we were using in these records. Some of my favorites were the Mahalo. We were using the Marshall 2000 a lot. And then the Super Lead, where's that? Where's our Super Lead?
It's not even in the picture.
Not even in the picture. But yes, we have another amp that we used a lot. And so these are the profiles.
See it in a minute.
Yeah, these are the profiles that I've always wanted to have just on the Kemper. Because for me, I can't own a million of these different amps. But for me, having the sounds that we actually used is wonderful.
Now, many of these amps you've seen in my videos. For example, I did the AC/DC video the other day with the JCM 2000 doing the rhythm tracks. I did Back in Black, a solo version in my Classic Solos episode 2, where I tracked the Jubilee for the rhythm tracks.
Profiles that I've been creating so far, we've got a few packs done, and I want to make sure that we ran them through the 25 watt greenback cabinet, and we also ran it through the vintage 30 speakers. So we want to make sure that we have both those tones in there, as well as many different tones.
The orange went through the orange cab.
There will be plenty of profiles that showcase different sounds of that amp, and you'll have so many different tones, which is wonderful.
So let's take a look at how the profiling happens.
So this is my Kemper unit. I had to get it in white because I love the white version. Everyone seems to go for the green, but I just had to have the white version. So the great thing about the Kemper is that to me it's laid out very intuitively, ergonomically. They make it simple, like being a guitar player. How are you going to set up your rig? You're going to put you have to go from a guitar to your pedals. You have your stomp section. You have area for adding 4 stomp effects. And they say stomps. It's not for you to break out your pedals. It's really for you to add effects that they have in the system already. So it's as easy as just holding one of these down, and then it says it's coming up empty, meaning because I don't have anything in that slot right there. But if I want to go to something that you would normally put in that lead section, or in the stomp pedal section, like a booster, something to feed into the amp to give it a little bit more gain. So there you go. I have a boost pedal already on it. So that's easy. That's simple. And the great thing is you can just turn it off, just as easy as clicking your pedal like normal. So you have up to 4 of those that you can add to it. Then it goes to your amplifier section, and you can switch amps in there based on what is in the Kemper. You have an EQ section like you would have on an amp. And the EQs, if you look down here, you're going to see this area basically models what your amp is. You have a gain section, you have your bass, mid, treble, presence. They all say right here what they are. And then you have the volume, like the output volume of the amp. And then, so with that, you can adjust the trebles and the EQs however you want to do it. And it's just as easy as turning it off and then turning it back on. Simple. You can change your cabinet to whatever cabinet is loaded into the Kemper. There's a bunch of different cabinets that you can use. And then you go into the next section. This would be like the post amplifier section after it's recorded. So here you can add something like, in this case, I think I've added, let's see here, I've added a hyperchorus. So it's as easy as just scrolling through all your different effects. And you can see there's page after page after page of different effects that you can add. Lots of distortions, delays, tons of delays, reverbs, all sorts of stuff in here. I'm not even through the delays yet. Flangers, phasers, all sorts of great effects. And this would be the area that you would add your stereo effects, things that you want left and right bouncing along, delays and reverbs and things like that. And again, it's just as easy as turning it off and turning it back on. The point of this was to take his amps and model them the way that they are, so you have the pure amp, and then be able to take those as a jumping off point and add some effects to them that you want to add. Like if you want to add a boost pedal in front, or if you want to add some delays or reverbs, however you want to do it. We wanted to capture the essence of the actual amp the way it is. We have plenty of amps that are modeled, and so that's kind of the draw to me, is that these amps sound great because they were modded, and they have these great sounds in them. So I wanted to capture the amps the way that they were.
We've also tracked all of these. They've also been modeled through Neve 1073 mic pre's, just like you see me do in my videos where I've recorded amplifiers. Multiple mics through multiple Neve mic pre's.
Yep. So it's that simple. I mean, we just wanted to make sure that we had the essence of the amp, and then you can take those and add effects to them. But like he said, we do have a bunch of profiles that are already, that we added effects to. And these are profiles that we would actually use on our sessions. Something that is totally usable for you and ready to go out of the box.
Okay, so we're going to demonstrate how we profile the amp using this heavily modded Super Lead Plexi, Marshall Super Lead Plexi, through a Marshall 100-watt cabinet with 25-watt greenbacks. Let's check it out.
The first thing that we did that we need to do when we're profiling is we're going to switch it. It was on browser, which allows you to browse all the different profiles that you have. And then if we go to the profiler switch here, if we go to that setting, that sets us up for profiling. Now there's diagrams of how to hook up your Kemper. And you have to go into the Kemper first from your guitar. So you can see I'm going right into the Kemper. The Kemper is going out into the amp. The amp is going into the cabinet. And then the cabinet is being recorded by a 57 and a 421 on 2 different speakers. That's coming into, in our system, it's coming into Pro Tools, and we're blending it. For us to do that, we had to blend it somewhere, either on a board, a little mini mixer, or whatever. So we're doing it through our DAW Pro Tools right here. And it's going out of Pro Tools back into the Kemper so that the Kemper can hear it and see, basically profile what it's listening to. So you have a choice here of listening to your reference amp or your Kemper amp. And I actually happen to have the preset up for this that we were using. But the Kemper amp right now, it sounds like, when I say the Kemper amp, it's actually the amp that we're using, the Marshall Plexi. Our sound. That's what we're going to try to profile. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the next button, and it's asking me, is it distorted or is it clean? So I'm going to tell it it's distorted, or it's already set up that way. And basically we're going to start profiling. I mean, it's really simple. Just hit the profiling button, and you're going to hear all these crazy alien noises for a second. thankfully, they turn the sound down when they actually profile this. So you don't hear all those alien noises just super loud. It's just taking samples of the amp as it's running its own sounds through it, and it's basically telling you checking out what the amp sounds like through the microphones and profiling it that way. All the highs, all the lows, all the mids, everything. Okay, so now that it's profiled that, you can basically listen to what it's profiled. You're now on the Kemper amp. You're listening to what it has profiled. Here is the Kemper, the reference amp, or the amp that we've been profiling. Let's go back to what the Kemper profiled. It's pretty good. The other thing that you can do is you can hit this refine profile and basically do things like chunks or solo or whatever. It's kind of like how are you going to play it, and just the little nuances of things. I try to do chords and chunking when I do this. Normally I would do some rip and solo or something like that, but in this case, let's just we'll finish the refining of the profile, and basically you have the Kemper amp again. Here's the profile that we've created. Let's go to our reference amp, which is basically it's the live amp. Back to the Kemper. And that's about it. That's as simple as it gets. I mean, you at this point you just got to hit the save button and just save it, rename it however you want. And the Kemper comes with software that allows you to add different names, or not names, allow you to add different components to the preset, the profile itself, so you can tell it what kind of amp it is, what kind of speakers you have in it, what kind of microphones you're using, all those kind of things. So there's a lot of little details that you can get into when you're making these profiles.
Over the next few weeks, we'll be adding more Kemper amp profiles to my page on flat5.com, along with sound examples. That's all for now. Please subscribe here to my Everything Music YouTube channel if you're interested in the Beato book. Go to my website at www.rickbeato.com, and also consider becoming a member of the Beato Club. You can find out more about it on my website as well. Thanks for watching.